VK3DUB, VK3FTZD. Full decode on that. And, I should know who that is. Full decode 21 dB. VK3AML, Chris, how did you go decoding that image?
22 dB, no problem at all, and I've put up stream part 2. It seems to be streaming okay this time. Although, touch wood, let's, oh gosh, it's dropped again. I'll just find out, while you're discussing that image, I'll go and check with Prue as to what she's streaming. We may have a competition going on. VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
A lot of top heavy servers over your way, Chris, because of the other areas that have been taken out by the power fails and stuff.
Could be, Terry, who knows.
Could be anything. VK3FTJS, Terry, how did you go decoding that image?
Yeah, 23 dB, full decode. Yeah, I'm a little bit, confused, but I'm sure we'll work it out. I know it's Hendrix, but yeah, not 100% sure what's going on there.
And VK3DUB4, comment on this image.
Yeah, VK3DUB. I just got a giggle out of it because playing in bands as a young fella, that was the first thing that anyone who came up to the stage would always ask. I just got a laugh out of that image. There's nothing more to it than that. VK3FTZD with the group VK3DUB.
Yeah, no worries. Certainly, it is a funny image. Okay. Okay, I've got an image ready to go. This I've just connected and I'm using now. You'll have to guess where it's connected into. VK3FTZD with an easy PAL image at the drop of the repeater. Again. VK3AML, Chris, how did you go decoding that image?
$18 dB on that, but I didn't have my settings set for optimum. I was too busy re-establishing the bloody stream. VK3 FTZD, VK3AML. Interesting. What the hell is that? Something to do with guitars, but why does it have channel? I'm just trying to work that out. It's a foot control for something, I think. VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
normally a foot control for a guitar. It's not what I'm using it for, or for a guitar amplifier. It's not what I'm using it for. VK3 DUB, how'd you go decoding that one?
If you get to a DB, I got that at 15 dB with a full decode. I'm tipping that's what you're using as your remote, your foot transmit switch, because I think they just have a 6.5mm TS jack on the end of it that you can sort of repurpose from memory, but that's only from memory. VK3 FTZD in the group, VK3DB.
Yeah, no worries. VK3 FTJS, how did you go decoding that one, Terry?
Yeah, 17 dB, full decode, some sort of overdrive pedal I'd imagine, or some sort of effects pedal maybe, or maybe something to switch it in and out, or something to switch your mic on and off.
So I've just wired this up to activate the PTT button on my radio. So you push it once, it is activated, push it again, it's deactivated, or normally it'll close and then it'll open. So it makes a perfect foot PTT button. And so that's it, sitting on my floor. And it lights up when it's not PTT, so I can find it. And then turns off when I'm actually transmitting. So it actually comes off a guitar amp that, yeah, the guitar amp would have it built-in effects on it, and then the floor switch, or this switch, would actually turn on and off those effects on the guitar. Say if you're running extra distortion pedals and all that sort of stuff. It could also just be a channel change or something like that. Most likely it'd be changing to the distortion channel or the clean channel or the overdrive 2 channel, that sort of stuff. This was a freebie. There was a break in the lead. I've cut the lead shorter by maybe a foot, in stages of course, and found that 1 foot away from the switch there was a break in the shield, or the shield wire. It's not actually the shielded wire at all, it's just 2 pair. And it works. There you go, my PTT floor switch. Okay, over to Chris, VK3 AML, for the next image for the night. Yeah, no worries. We'll go over to Grayson, VK3 DUB.
Yeah, no worries. Stand by on the speed of drops.
VK3DUB, VK3FTZD, and the EasyPowerNet. What is that? Some sort of marker, maybe? I'm not sure. Full decode, 20 dB here. There was a little bit of noise coming through, and the repeater ident at one stage did try to destroy your transmission, but full decode anyway without any problems. VK3AML, Chris, how did you go decoding this image?
20 dB, no problem. It looks almost like it might be up Mount Bogong or something, but I don't know what those two loops are beneath that tin can or whatever it is. VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
Yeah, not sure. VK3FTJS, Terry, how did you go decoding this image?
Yeah, 20 dB full decode. Not quite sure what it is, but yeah, I'll be interested to know. I think it is actually a 44, a gallon drum on top, maybe.
Certainly very interesting. VK3DUB for comment on what this is.
Yeah, VK3DB. This is one I took a few years ago now. This is the highest peak in the Northern Territory, Mount Zeal. It's about an hour and a bit out of Alice Springs. It's about, from memory, about 1,500 metres high. I never quite worked out what the monument on the summit there was for. What I'm tipping it is a trig marker for surveying, if I had to guess, because I don't know why anyone else would have carried all that steel up there for no reason. The wires, yeah, those little bits on the end are like ceramic insulators, so I don't know if that's just what they had on hand or they were at one point guy ropes, or I'm not entirely sure, but I was, after having walked up the side of that hill for about 4.5, 5 hours, I didn't envy the blokes who took all that steel up there. VK3 FTZD with the group VK3DB.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That'd probably be for surveying or something. Who knows? VK3AML, Chris, are you able to transmit now?
And we're transmitting again, and again you'll see up here there's a kind of a thermometer which will gradually move across to the right as we transmit more and more of the picture. If I want to abort it, that flashing abort button I can touch. This is all touchscreen stuff on a little tablet computer. This whole tablet is only about 8 inches wide, so I'm having to go in fairly close on the webcam, and it doesn't always reliably focus, but it is focusing at the moment. We're transmitting that image in, as you can see down here, 71 seconds, and you can vary that transmit time according to how much picture detail you want, but the picture detail available for a digital slow scan is very much greater than it is in analog slow scan. Analog slow scan is usually 240p degraded, and this is something like 1080p non-degraded.
Another image of Deal Island. Excellent. Yeah, definitely looks really beautiful there. Full decode, 22 dB again there, Chris. VK3B, how did you go decoding this image?
Yeah, full decode at 19 dB. Certainly looks like an interesting place. You're sort of making me want to go there now. I have a bit of an interest in far-flung remote outposts in the middle of nowhere. But VK3 FTZD, VK3 DB.
Certainly interesting. VK3 FTJS, Terry, how did you go decoding this image?
Yeah, 23 dB, full decode, and lovely old building. Lovely island, actually.
Yeah, the whole place looks beautiful. VK3 AML4, comment on this one?
Well, it basically is very beautiful because it's very difficult to get to. Incidentally, the stream is a lot more solid now than it has been. I'm seeing very few dropouts now, which is great, though it might make a liar of me yet. That is the old lighthouse keeper's dwelling, which was built in mid-1848 and is substantially unmodified. It's a very interesting dwelling. The first lighthouse keeper had 12, I repeat, 12 children, all of whom were brought up there. There are little rooms upstairs which are wallpapered actually with newspapers from the turn of last century all round the walls. And the building now operates as a museum for shipwreck remnants, lots of material from the days when it was an active light station. It ceased to be an active light station in 1991, and the little stone houses at the back are these days they're inflammable goods stores, so petrol, kerosene, methylated spirit, paint stripper, all that sort of stuff. In a remote locale like this, you have to be completely self-sufficient with all of your supplies. So they're very well equipped. Now this is run by National Parks and Wildlife Service. There are two separate dwellings apart from this one. One is a dormitory for workers, and the other one is quite a modern 1960s house, smallish house, red brick, which is about 20 metres from this. But that's our group. Dave 3ASC on the left, Steve VK3SL in the middle, and Steve's son Henry sitting on the stone parapet in front of the building on the right, taken in January. Again, middle of Bass Strait, and I really feel like it's one of the most beautiful parts of Australia, southern Australia, that I've seen. Probably that way because it's so difficult to reach. VK3 FTZD, VK3 AML.
Yes, it probably is. Being so far away, it's quite, because yeah, remote, beautiful. Okay, over to Terry, VK3 FTJS for the next image.
Okay, the drop it a repair.
VK3 FTJS, VK3 FTZD, and the Easy Power Net. Full decode, 21 dB there, Terry. And I'm a little bit curious where that is. Actually, very curious where that is. It's old. Yes, VK3 AML, Chris. How did you go decoding this image?
Sorry, I was just putting the level control up on my microphone on the stream. I got that at, just hang on a sec, he said, touching the screen to make it visible, 22 dB. As always, Terry gives an excellent sig to noise. And at a guess, I would say that is looking south down Elizabeth Street from the corner of Collins, and the date 1910, thereabouts. The clock on the Flinders Street station was new at that stage. On the left there is a bank, which is now, I think, ANZ. It's interesting. The trams, the cable trams, were installed in 1883, and they were removed in 1940. But that's a fair spread of dates. Could be about 1912, but it's pre-First War, whatever it is. There aren't enough cars there for it to be much later. In fact, I don't see any cars at all, which is curious. Sorry, I'm raving. VK3 FTZD, VK3 AML.
That's alright there, Chris. Very interesting. VK3 DUB, how did you go decoding this image?
Yeah, VK3 dB. I got that full decode at 18 dB, and yeah, I was going to have a guess that it was Elizabeth Street, but Chris has left us all for dead with the history there. So VK3 FTZD, VK3 DB.
Okay, Terry, please explain. VK3 FTJS, VK3 FTZD.
Yeah, Chris got the exact location and the exact date, and yes, that bank is still there from what I know, and it's kind of Collins and Elizabeth Streets, and it would have been just around just after the time that the station was built.
Well, there you go, Chris. You're right on the money. With that. Did I load up an image? I did. With that, I have, surprise, surprise, a 3D printing image ready to go. Although it's not a 3D printed object, it's something dodgy I found. VK3 FTZD with an Easy Power image at the drop of the repeater. Hey, look, I remembered to turn the microphone back on. VK3AML, VK3FTZD and the Easy Power Connect. How did you go decoding that one, Chris?
18 dB, and you have me really intrigued by this one. Something to do with wires and a hex key. A hex key. It's not from IKEA, is it? VK. Silly idea. VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
Now this is the hot end assembly on a 3D printer. So you've got the white thing coming out the top is actually filament. That's where the filament comes in, and there's some wire sitting at the front there that's got some like heat resistant braid on it. That's actually a thermocoupler, and next to where that Allen key head is the heating element. And I'll pass it over to VK3DUB. How did you go decoding this image?
Yeah, VK3 dB, full decode at 15 dB, but very interesting.
And Terry, VK3FTJS, how did you go decoding this image?
Yeah, 17 dB, full decode.
No worries. So, what you're looking at here, like I said before, is the heating element from, or a heat block from a 3D printer. Now that big silver thing is supposed to be completely round, because when it screws into the aluminium heating block, there's a piece underneath it that's called the nozzle that's supposed to screw into it as well from the other side. And they're supposed to make an airtight or fluid-tight seal. Now what happens when you cut the edge down from a round object when it's supposed to be an airtight or fluid-tight seal? It's no longer a seal, and all that black stuff that you can see is actually old filament that's squirted out around due to the high pressure involved, and someone has not known what they were doing. There you go. That's it there. I don't understand why they ground it down, but it's been ground down on both sides, both the side that you can see and the side that's behind it. It's been ground down. It's almost like they've had to use that to tighten it in, which, yeah, shouldn't be done. With that, we'll go over to VK3AML for the next image.
Okay, VK3 Alpha Mike Lima with an easy power pick. Hang on. There we go. On the drop of the repeater. And we switch the transmitter on, then we hit this button. And I put on the receiver, turn it up. And yes, we can hear the signal going out. And you can see the progress of the image here. This image is being transmitted because it's digital. It will be received completely noise-free at the receiving end in a 71-second compass, which is about half the transmit time that you have on analog slow scan to transmit a 240p degraded image. So it's a considerably better system. Remarkable that it's not used more. Really remarkable that it's not used more. And hello to our Tasmanian viewers. I think, Mike, if you're there, hope this is not boring you excessively. I'll explain what this image is once the others have received it, and you can see the thermometers up here has almost come to the right hand end, which means that the picture transmission is complete except for the header, which is now being transmitted, and when this abort goes back to transmit. VK3
FTJS, Terry, how did you go decoding that image?
Yeah, 22 dB and full decode, and yeah, even the table looked comfortable at that stage.
No worries. Chris, can I get you to take over for a few minutes? My father in New Zealand's just...
Yeah, no problem. I'm not sure who's next, but no doubt they'll make themselves known. I think it's 3DUB. This is not the interior of the old lighthouse keeper's dwelling. This is actually the workers' dormitory. When we initially applied to go across to Deal Island in 2019, we dealt with a very nice ranger on Flinders Island named Wayne Dick, who said that when we got to Flinders Island we could use this dwelling, and it has toilets, it has refrigeration, it has 240 volt power and bunks, but you have to bring your own bedding, and of course this living room. Then there was a change of regime, and the next thing we knew we were denied 240 volt power, we were denied refrigeration, we were denied access to this building, we were denied toilets, and we were denied water. And frankly we're all looking for an explanation, but we put up with it and we re-equipped ourselves with tents and survival rations and 240 litre drums of water. But we were a little bit, how can I say it, as we looked in the window to take this photo of what we were missing out on, we were a little bit miffed, and we kind of want an explanation. VK3 FTJS, how did you go with the picture? VK3 AML.
Yeah, 22 dB full decode, Chris, yeah. Yeah, I think the table would have been comfortable at that stage.
Would have been more comfortable than the tent I had. VK3 DUB, how did you go?
Yeah, VK3 DB, full decode to 18 dB. The Parks and Wildlife Service move in mysterious ways sometimes, I suppose, but yeah, I wouldn't want to be looking in that window, especially in a place like Deal Island where the weather can be a bit interesting. Was it a radio trip?
What was that last comment?
It was a radio trip, I'm assuming. Were you there for a specific purpose, or...?
Yeah, but strangely enough, we were not there mainly for the radio. We did try 80 metres on one night, worked very well, was on the air for a couple of hours. We did try VHF on a couple of occasions, set up a station at a high point and spoke to Tasmania and Victoria. The main reason we were there, well, two main reasons. One was that we wanted to see what the Kent group, Deal Island, Erith Island, Dover Island, were like, because we'd read a lot about it and realised that there was an 1848 vintage lighthouse keeper's settlement there, which apparently was really fascinating, including one of the least visited officially designated museums of Australia, which is inside that old building. But mostly we went there because it's a part of the Tasmanian territory that's line of sight back to Victoria, and we wanted to do the first VK3, VK7 modulated light contact, which we did. VK3 DUB, VK3 AML.
Very interesting indeed. Yeah, I haven't dealt too much with the modulated light. I think it might be my round, so when the repeater drops, VK3 DUB with an easy tail pick.
Well, that was 23 dB. You get the prize of the night. VK3 DUB, VK3 AML. I'm trying to work out which light this must be. I'm familiar with most of them along the Victorian coast, but this one isn't familiar to me. Could it... Oh, no. I don't think this is Victoria. Neither is it Tasmania. I think it's something further north. I might be wrong. It's not Cape Nelson. It's not Cape Otway. Ugh, you have me stumped here. Anyway, round to Terry. How did you do? VK3 FTJS, VK3 AML.
Yeah, spot on. Price of the night, mate, that one. 25 dB, full decode. Yeah, nice balcony. Be nice to hang some wires off there. Yeah. A few wire antennas that go around, or go around.
Yeah, that's for sure. Anyway, VK3 DUB. Oh, just before we go on, Tim, are you back yet? No, he's tied up, and our web's reconnecting. It's still a bit flaky, but we're getting by with reasonable internet. And I see Chris VK3CJN is looking in. So Chris, if you have the time to come up, perhaps you'd like to join us too. Are you there? VK3CJN, VK3AML? No, he's watching on the stream but not on the air. Okay, VK3DUB for an explanation. VK3AML.
Yeah, so that one there is Cape de Coudic. I can never pronounce the French names that Baudin gave to the south coast of Australia properly. It's been the bane of my existence for a while. But that's the lighthouse down in Flinders Chase National Park in Kangaroo Island. 2,000 blocks of local stone used to build it. I think it was built in about 1905 or 06, or beginning construction then at least. Interestingly enough, obviously back then there was no way of accessing that site via any sort of road or anything like that, and it's pretty dense bush as you head back across the island. So, and the other side of that photo, what you're looking at into the ocean there's probably a good 60 or 70 metre cliff drop straight down into the water. So what they had to do was build a flying fox system, which was run by 2 horses, and the boat would sort of land on this little flimsy jetty at the bottom, and they'd winch all of their supplies up and for the lighthouse keepers and the 2 assistants. So pretty interesting, and still operating today. Of course, automated, but with the original Fresnel lens. And I think it flashes 2 flashes every 10 seconds from memory. But yeah, I'm rabbiting on. VK3 AML with the group, VK3DB.
Yeah, Kangaroo Island. I've been meaning to go there for many years. Heard very good stories from my friends in South Australia, but apparently it was very badly affected by bushfires of recent times, particularly that end of the island, unfortunately. You can imagine that the scrub will recover, but you wonder if the animal population will without a long period to recover. Anyway, I think it's Terry's go at this point. VK3FTJS, VK3AML.
Okay, it's a drop of the repeater.